Grand afternoon, I believe. True Brit news. Make Albion great again. Why some need me to be wrong, dumb and stupid. I just want to do a quick sort of current happenings, current events. Okay, so there's a 15-year-old boy in Sheffield. There was a 15-year-old boy in Sheffield killed by another child. Also, in another school, I can't remember where, there's a girl that has been in that particular school threatening to, this is my understanding, it's what I can remember, but there may be worse than that actually, to stab some teachers, not having a good time in school. So there was 2 incidences yesterday of children with knives in schools. 1 fatality for sure. They're the 2 bits of news. There's some other stuff going on at the moment, but when I heard about this child getting killed in Sheffield, I thought to myself, I wonder if people are going to be clamouring for the killer, and that's to be hung in the same way that they did with Rudy Cabana, or to call him Coca Cabana, but not feel appropriate. But the young 18-year-old, it brings up lots of questions. Are we going to be clamouring in the same way? Should we find out that it's another child that has been on the radar of the school and other agencies? It seems as though it was a private school, actually, a high school in Sheffield. So, it looks like it's a middle class type event, say, in a private school. But I don't know. I just saw the sign saying somebody's at some high school. But are we going to be clamouring? Are we going to be saying the same things? Should we find out the same things or similar things that, there's been some concerns about this child? I suspect there would be. And yesterday there was there's been talk of Ofsted performing a consultation with schools, and really shouldn't call them schools because they're academies, the places that they're talking about anyway. Having a consultation with the teachers to talk about, because of the review system, or what it is that Ofsted does for schools, because their measuring system for suitability and academic achievements within schools, their not timetable, what do you call it, their chart, top of the charts kind of thing, to monitor, as I say, efficiencies within school, how efficiently and how well children are learning. So I wanted to bring those 2 bits up, those 3 bits up actually. Ofsted, killings in schools. So there's something going on in the schools that Ofsted wants a consultation about, because and part of the reason for the consultation is because there was a teacher that committed suicide because her school had been knocked down a level, a tier, in terms of I think it was could do better or something like that they got back, and it wasn't clear. He's saying that method of evaluating schools, or the method that's been used, is not is not fit for purpose, maybe, or it's not useful enough, it's not specific enough, it's not giving teachers enough and schools enough information to go on to make the necessary improvements or to maintain the standards that they have. I don't know. They're doing that consultation. I'm just assuming that because I didn't really listen to it. But clearly there's an issue going on in schools that's having a wider impact in society. Right. So I wanted today, 5 minutes it's taking me to do that, in terms of, so that's the news bit, its relevance to true Brits. And I'm going to draw on, I'm going to draw on UNDRIP, the United Declarations of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. And I'm going to begin by saying this. If we want these atrocities, these, for our children, for the children to receive an education which doesn't, and have an education experience from the state that doesn't leave them with things like, or titles, or what's I'm looking for, ADHD traits and characteristics, doesn't leave them feeling depressed, suicidal, murderous. It teaches them to be, if they are having disagreements, that the way to solve disagreements and different points of view, I don't know what it was about, that the way that you sort them out is not by through the use of knives as a way of resolving whatever issues it is that young people, they're not young people, they are children, what children are facing. It's worrying. Anyway, so in order to stop this from happening, I'm saying that there are some responsibilities that the Indigenous and Aboriginal have, and that there are some obligations that the state has to the Indigenous and Aboriginal. I'm going to break it down. United Nations Declaration, and it's law. It's law. It's the supreme law of the land. People signed up to this in 2006. Yeah, all the nations of the world. I'll come back to that a little bit later. But I want to move it out of, change the language very slightly to a language that I feel is more relevant to where we are, on what is occurring, on where the world is going, right? I'm going to talk about, use the language of common law. So it's the rights, the right of parents, change the language, the right of sovereign citizens, change that again, the right of sovereign men and women to be responsible for, as an example, sovereign peoples have the right to full enjoyment as a collective or as individuals of all human rights and fundamental freedoms as recognized in the Charter of the United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and international human rights. Okay? Right. So it is important, I feel, that sovereigns, if you consider yourself sovereign, no, if you don't consider yourself sovereign, if you consider yourself a citizen or an Englishman, the way to
Of a 15-year-old boy.
Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, 15-year-old boy. Okay, right. For sovereign to assist sovereigns, for Englishmen, for wasps, for visitors, legally or illegally, that are here on these islands, to assist sovereigns in any way that, so that they then can talk to and take up their responsibilities to, as an example. I'm going to go back to so that they're able to. It's number 7. Here we go. Article 7. Indigenous sovereign individuals have the right to life, physical and mental integrity, liberty and security of person. Sovereign peoples have the collective right to live in freedom, peace and security as distinct peoples, and shall not be subjected to any act of genocide or any other act of violence, including forcibly removing children of the group to another group. It says some more. I'm going to read Article 8 because I think it covers everything. It covers much more. Right. So sovereign peoples and individuals have the right not to be subjected to forced assimilation or destruction of their culture. States, that's the government for all intents and purposes, and their agencies and the agents that work in them, shall provide effective mechanisms for prevention of and redress for A, any action which has the aim or effect of depriving them of their integrity as distinct peoples or of their cultural values or ethnic identities. B, any such action which has the aim or effect of dispossessing them of their lands, territories or resources. C, any form of forced population transfer, forced or otherwise, which has the aim or effect of violating or undermining any of their rights. D, any form of forced assimilation or integration, any form of propaganda designed to promote or incite racial or ethnic discrimination directed against them. I'm reading from the United Declaration of the Right and of Indigenous Peoples, which everybody signed up to. But it tells you in it what responsibilities are. It tells you the commitment that has been made by states across the globe, everywhere. They've all agreed to this. That's why, another bit of news, just to slip this bit of news in. DRC, was it the Democratic Republic of Congo, ceasefire this morning. Right, so that's 3 places. Israel, ceasefire going into the second stage of it, dragging it out because it's been Netanyahu. Somebody, was it him or one of his mates, has said, we want to keep fighting. There is no interest. There is no value in peace for some of the Israeli government. Okay, I'm not saying the people. I'm saying the government. Some parts of it want to keep fighting, and they made that absolutely clear. Right. So you got that place. You got Syria the week before, 2 weeks before, and today say you got DRC, and nobody thought that was going to stop. Okay, ceasefire's there. People are holding it out. This is joyous times, so we don't want. Anyway, come back to that. That's in the previous video when I'm talking about joy. What that means is that the people have responsibilities to, and and our children need guidance from people to restore their basic human rights. But it goes on in some of these articles to talk about culture, to preserve one's culture. I'm going to go back to the preamble actually, because it's going to explain it better than I do. So this is part of the commitment. So the people that signed up to this document, the states across the globe, they are recognizing the urgent need to respect and promote the rights of sovereigns across the globe, affirmed in treaties, agreements, and other constructive arrangements with states. And it's welcoming the fact that sovereign peoples are organizing themselves for political, economic, and social and cultural enhancement, and in order to bring to an end all forms of discrimination and oppression wherever they occur. Okay? Convinced that control by sovereign peoples over developments affecting them and their lands, territories, and resources will enable them to maintain and strengthen their institutions, cultures, traditions, and to promote their development in accordance with their aspirations and needs. That last bit there, you can see why it is that Donald Trump is saying some of the things that is introducing these tariffs. He wants to make America great again. He's had enough of people taking advantage of the resources, which I include the people. It's not just about the stuff that's in the ground or in the water about the place. It's the people, taking the piss out of the people, exploiting the people. He's saying enough of that. And he's also saying stop poisoning the people, the indigenous and aboriginal, the sovereigns. It's returning to sovereignty. It's returning itself to a republic, and that's what Donald's doing. But the people need to take some responsibility for what they need to take responsibility for knowing and for acting and doing those things that protect the children, but it also informs the children of what it is to be a child. To educate based on those principles, to educate based upon culture, cultural traditions, expectations, and morals. Take out the expectations, put the morals back in that are ancient and well known. That's another reason why Donald said there are only two sexes. We have moved into a situation where there's a whole heap of them, and children are confused. I'm not saying that 15-year-olds killing other 15-year-olds. Yes, I am saying. No, I was about to say that I wasn't going to say that it's connected to the DEI stuff, the LGBTQ I was going to say operation, agenda that's been rolled out through the education system. But we need but it's quite clear that the education system that exists, it produces children that are so distressed, so out of sorts with themselves, so confused, so frightened, so whatever it is, whatever adjective you want to use, that they're killing each other. And what do they say? No child, 19 minutes, no child, no parent should outlive their child. Completely get it. No, there's no need for it. There's no purpose. There's no rationale for having it. How is it that we've ended up here? But it's up to sovereigns to remember, to relearn things like common law. No, and what it means, where it comes from. No harm, no injury, no loss. This is what's coming back into. That's what the Renaissance is all about. That's what's in some ways is being resisted. That there's no joy for. So these indicators that peace is breaking out all over the place is unsettling at best, at worst for some, and why some need me to be wrong, dumb, and stupid, and for others it's the worst in nightmare that this exists. UNDRIP. People have known about it for a long time, because every time I've introduced it and mentioned it to people, they say, yes, we know, but we're not ready to change. We're not prepared to change. This is about decolonization. Yeah, but it's not colonization of peoples, of the indigenous and aboriginals, but it's decolonization of the mind, a mind that accepts the Israel situation and gets distressed when peace starts to break out, when it's not going to happen anymore. You know what I mean? Because that's the same mind, if you will, that has created a situation where 15-year-olds are killing 15-year-olds in a school environment and running around with knives, being distressed and killing children. And now that same society is talking about killing them, bringing back the death penalty for essentially children, for anybody. When they've been schooled, they've been educated, they have been programmed, they have been conditioned to be this way. UNDRIP offers a return to sovereign thinking, sovereign being, civics. Till the next time, may your ERP and your spirituality remain strong. Tribe up, clan up, all that kind of stuff. Start speaking the truth. The people that are to be response able are your sovereigns, is indigenous and aboriginal. It's up to you. You've got to get your act together. Start dealing with that which is right. This 50, not okay. It's not okay. There's no justification for it. And don't say you can't change. Donald's done it in 2 weeks. It's rattled everybody's cage. So you can now begin to sort of see that there's been a reluctance. There's been a design for people not to act on the migrants that are coming over, not to break up the gangs, because they could have been broken up a long time ago. It shouldn't have happened in the first place. It's an agenda. I'm gone.